Good day. Well, it's late in the afternoon, but look how light it is. And look, no hat, no parka, no gloves even. What a nice change in the weather. It's about 0. So there's no weather, right? It's 0. And no wind. I finally broke free of that 2 or 3 week winter, what do you call it? Winter vortex? Polar vortex? Just friggin' cold. That's all it is. That's nice. So I was out of town for 2 days, so didn't walk. Shame on me. There wasn't much stopping me. But I did do, yesterday at work I did 10,000 steps, if you go by that. The day before I think I did 6,000 or 7,000 steps. So it wasn't like I was totally slacking, but yeah, I didn't walk. Oh, I did walk the mall on the day before yesterday. So I didn't film it, it was just way too busy. So that's where I got a bunch of steps that day too. So, yeah, it works. So today I'm just on my way to the strip mall to the east of us. Get a couple sandwiches for dinner. My wife is teaching a knitting class tonight, so she won't be home till later, so she'll have a sandwich waiting for her from Subway. And I ate kind of a big lunch too, so I'll just have a sandwich as well. Not that those are all that great for you, with the nitrates and the processed meat. However, I guess once in a while won't kill you, right? I had my rental car while I was out of town, and after that hassle of this dent that I saw and reported, and the guy wanted me to fill out a report saying that, once you leave the lot, it's your responsibility. It's like, yeah. So every rock that beamed off the windshield, I could just imagine it cracking and then having to fork out another $350 or whatever. I'm not sure what our deductible is on our business MasterCard, but regardless, I've had to do that before. It seems like every other vehicle I rent, somehow the windshield cracks, and now you're liable for that. Because we're covered with insurance through our corporate cards, I don't take the other insurance. But I don't know. I think it's the time you spend filling out reports and paperwork and stuff. It's just as easy to spend the $30 a day for 2 or 3 days to get the insurance, so that you don't have to worry about anything. I think that's what I'm going to do moving forward, despite what the company policy is, because they don't factor in a person's time having to deal with the paperwork and MasterCard and whatever else you got to do. I'm kind of walking the opposite direction I need to go, but that'll help me get some makeup steps in if I'm not walking the last 2 days. Now that the weather's warming up, the chance of ice appearing is going to be real again, so I'll keep my eyes open for that. We had such a nice December and January, you almost forget about it. I could sure tell the weather warmed up today on the highway. I usually travel between 119 and 125, depending on my mood. And people were still flying by me at, I don't know, probably 130, 135. This lady passes me in her Dodge Durango doing, must have been 140. And then talking on the phone, playing with her hair, barely even steering. I guess the saving grace is she wasn't doing her makeup at the same time. We live in Alberta and all, but these guys in these jacked up trucks doing 140 down the highway, You know, those things aren't built to stop on a dime, nor do they handle like a sports car, but people drive them like they were Mario and Andretti. There's a dated reference. How about Dale Earnhardt? Oh, still dated reference. I don't know my high-speed drive. Ricky Bobby. How about Ricky Bobby? No, that's still dated, even from Talladega Nights. That's an old movie. Never mind, you get the point. Kind of took a bit of a detour here, so I can give you a duck date. They're just around the corner. We'll see how they're doing. And I do like how bright it is at 5:30 at night. Still the sun up in the sky, kind of hitting the horizon, but kind of invigorates you being able to get out in the daylight on a weekday. I get a little riled when I stop and check on them. But their little pond got quite a bit smaller. There you go, that was your weekly duck date. My ears are a little chilly, and I put on one glove. The other hand holding the gimbal is fine right now. 0 is still a hell of a lot better than minus 25 with a wind, but your extremities still get chilled pretty quick. I've frostbitten my ears too many times, I think, in my life that it doesn't take much for them to get cold. There's a guy who said to his wife, I don't need to buy one of them goddamn Costco sheds. I can build one myself. So there you go. Ugly shed like that next to a $800,000 house. Ladies, don't always listen to your husband. If you ever do. My experience has been that it doesn't matter what's said. I came down this way so that my OCD didn't have to kick in and walk around that keyhole crescent. Now I'm finding ways to avoid my weird fetishes. Rabbit! Still pretty white, so spring ain't here yet. An electric car passed me, or EV as they're known. And you don't hear, your regular combustion engine, but they make this whining sound that is just at a frequency that bugs the shit out of me. So I don't know what I'd rather hear, that whining or the roar of an engine. I was talking to one of our refrigeration mechanics in Calgary about electric vehicles. The company is testing an electric van, and of course the guy that they used to test it, and maybe this was on purpose, lives out of the city. So by the time he gets into the city, he needs to and does a couple calls, he needs to charge his van, and so he's got to go to a fast charging station, but it took an hour and a half to charge it. So the guy's on the clock for that kind of time at, I don't know, retail $120 an hour. So I think they're going to have trouble finding the savings in fuel. Of course, companies are just looking for the green points to say, hey, look, we are embracing alternative solutions and alternative fuels, but you got to try and keep it practical. And I think I've said this before, I don't mind electric vehicles. And for commuting from home to work, I think they're probably a good idea, but I'm not going to pay a $10,000 or $15,000 premium for an electric vehicle that has a finite life of 8 to 10 years, depending on the quality of the batteries. So I'm still on the fence about electric vehicles and the benefit to somebody's pocketbook. And I guess you got to do a full cost analysis of fueling and maintenance and oil changes and all that versus charging with electricity. Oh, losing light fast. Once that sun gets behind the horizon. Good news was it was sunny today. Feels like the temperature's dropping already. Everything was so cold before that I'm sure it's still every fixture, every house, every car that hasn't been moved is still radiating some amount of cold that has yet to be dissipated. Feels good to have a good solid walk again though. I guess it's a good thing that I kind of miss it when I don't have a healthy walk. That guy over there jaywalked across the street just to walk down the road instead of walking to the lights and crossing safely. Older guy. Is that how you want to die, buddy? I have reached my destination. Dinner acquired. It's crazy now, the 2-foot-long subs is $22. Nothing special, but $22. I do like these apps though. I ordered it about halfway on my walk, and there it was ready when I got there. Nice to be mostly away from all the traffic noise. Didn't realize how much it bugged me. Used to be able to filter it out, but now it seems to just aggravate the hell out of me. It's funny to see houses with chimneys coming out the roof. These houses are probably 5 or more years older than our house, and obviously built before the high efficiency furnaces. We still have the draft tube coming out your roof. Technology changes, eh? I don't think they're any better though. My furnace only lasts, did it make 11 years? Maybe 10 years, which is ridiculous. But that being said too, my roof only lasted 9 or 10 years as well. Just junk construction, unfortunately. Unless you know what you're looking for and what boxes to check off to get better quality materials. Like on our roof, they never put an underlayment or a barrier at the base of the roof. I forget what you call it off the top of my head now. Ice dam, where you get ice dams to put the rubber mat. Never did that on my house. Didn't even put tar paper on any of it. And when they stripped the roof off, there was a couple places that the sheathing was already rotted. But you don't really know when you're building a house. And, you know, if they're following minimum construction standards, or if they just happen to get it done before the inspector rolled along, or slipped the guy a hundy or two. Not that saying inspectors are, you know, up for that kind of game. A friend of mine's dad was a plumbing and heating inspector for most of his career, and he wouldn't have done that kind of thing. But there are people that are out there that, if you grease the right palm, you can save thousands of dollars by not following strict building practices. My old bungalow I had, well, 2 of them, built in the 60s, both built like brick shithouses. Now, they weren't without problems. Like my last bungalow, it looked like there might have been a crack in the foundation that should have been, or would have had to be addressed sooner or later. But you look at the lumber they used and all of that, and far superior construction to what the new houses have. I know they got to keep houses affordable, but you really got to know what materials to put in at the base construction level to protect the house. It just seemed like it when we were building our house, anything was, oh, that'll be an extra $3,000, that'll be an extra $5,000, uplifts everywhere. So the price of the house that they quote you prior to any improvements, or you know, most of them are decor, you can easily add 10% on that price just to make the house the way you want it. Starting to get a little chilly on my neck. I'll take that though. I am kind of proud of myself though for being able to get out there in minus 25 with a wind chill and still walk away. But again, like I've said, if I keep moving at a good pace, it does not feel all that cold. I work for a large resource and pipelines company. I never mention the name on my social media because it's not really totally against company policy, but you know, my views and their views, obviously you gotta have that statement that says, you know, things said on this vlog are not necessarily the views of the corporation, blah blah blah. So I avoid that. But I was just thinking, because I was talking to a couple guys in our Calgary office, and the growth model is acquisitions. There's no real appetite to build new pipelines. There's just a lot of lead time in negotiations and routes and blah blah blah, government approval, that type of thing. And one of the things we did was we purchased a significant number of natural gas customers and assets down in the States. Well, to fund that, they decided to sell off another company under our umbrella. And to do that, you have to break your company's infrastructure away and have it managed by the new company. And a lot of times that's put on the seller, not the buyer. What's amusing to me though is we had just integrated this company into our business processes and technical monitoring and all that, and pipeline management and all that stuff. And then they decided, well, we need the revenue, or we need the capital, so we need to sell this company. And I swear, they had just finished doing the last thing to integrate them. And then they sell them, and now we've got to break it all apart again. I don't know what shape these sandwiches are going to be in by the time we get home, but I keep banging them against my leg. And that kind of integration costs millions of dollars in hardware and software, and that's just on the IT and OT side that this money is invested. Then you're bringing in headcount from other companies, and now you got to disrupt those people's lives again, because there's a good chance that they'll end up being part of the sale. I was talking to a couple of our guys, and they need to build, I think they're like $150,000 servers to provide the new integration from leaving our company and going to the buyer's company. And they need to do 30 of them. Hours and hours of labor. And I think about the people that worked on integrating this company into ours and all the effort they put into it just to have it basically stripped out again. But we're talking, I'm going to say $10 to $15 million to divest ourselves from this company. But the other side of it is the sale was worth billions. So really the all of this effort just ends up becoming a blip on a spreadsheet. Whatever going on here is never good to see. I don't like that. I'm glad the responders are there to help. That's where big business confounds me. To you and I, millions of dollars is significant, but when you're looking at the other end of it and gaining billions of dollars, the bigwigs just know that that's just a small price to pay to gain all that capital. I shortcutted my way home a little bit, so I'm getting cold. So far the packed snow is still there though, so no real slips. There were a couple spots that my foot kind of slid a bit. My legs are tired today after working this morning and then driving for 3 hours. They're kind of tired. Blah, blah, blah. Big baby. Wah, wah. Get over yourself, man. I was able to get away with just wearing a hoodie and a jacket. But I did get a little sweaty, so that cold air is kind of pushing through and giving me kind of a chill. Well, it felt like about a 5-kilometer walk. I'll let you know how I did when I get home. I forgot to turn on the outside lights. Well, it turned out to be a 6-kilometer walk, so not too bad. And 12,000 or so steps for the day. Most of them done on this walk, I think. About an hour and a half for this little walk, so not a great pace, but I also stopped at Subway to get our sandwiches, so a little bit of a delay there. Whatever, good walk. Till the next one.